Hi, I'm Chris Jarman here at Eliminator Kustoms in Goodrich, Michigan. Our shop focuses on high-end engines and metal fabrication, race cars and old street cars. Today we're going to be fabricating engine cradle out of mild steel. We'll be MIG welding it, and the purpose of this will be for either storage or safe transportation of your engine if you're taking it somewhere in your vehicle to have work done, or to the racetrack or anywhere else. This per se is a Chevrolet-based engine. This is a factory cast iron block. You'll notice that it has the engine mounting plates for the factory motor mounts on the side. This is a full-on copy. It's a billet block, and it does not have the motor mount. So what we're going to do is that those are dissimilarities in the blocks. The similarities are the rear mounting points where the transmission. Also, the front accessory mounts are all the same to bolt on the pieces that come aftermarket or from the factory. So what we're going to be doing is we're going to be building one that will actually bolt up here on the front and use the similarity mounting points so that you can have more of a universal fit instead of each individual one. We make our stands 30 inches long, 20 inches wide, 20 inches high in the back. The reason we do this is they're a little bit extra long. Now if you have a standard engine, this will fit within any engine in the market. A race application per se that might have a dry sump system or a lot of accessories in the front, they tend to get a little tippy in transportation. So what we do is we make it a little extra long for the stability for transportation. The metal that we can get, you can get this at a steel mill, but we picked this up to show you at like your local Lowe's, your local hardware stores. They all have a little metal rack, and you can get this 1x1 mild steel tubing there at a very reasonable price. We actually also pre-cut our tabs. You can make this out of just regular plain 3/16 steel. You can buy the tabs, or you can, we buy the tabs already done, or you can manufacture them, drill a hole in their 3/8 holes. Our next step, now that we have a lot of our tubing cut and deburred, we're going to go ahead and mock this up. This is the way we do it here. It's very easy, and you make sure that you get everything precise, your holes line up, that way you're not cutting and re-welding a lot of times. What we've done is I've taken my upright piece from my rear bulkhead that goes on the back of the transmission mount, marked the center line, this is 20 inches wide, so we're 10 inches, bolted our pre-made tabs to the location where we want them, and set the bar up against them. What we're going to do next is after that we're going to put small tacks onto this bar to hold it, remove it, and then we'll build the upright on the bench. We're going to go ahead and finish weld the tabs on before we go on to finish the rear upright. Now that we have our top cross brace and our tabs welded firmly on, now we're going to go ahead and build the upright. We've already gone and had this all pre-cut. We've actually taken and squared it up on the table. What you want to make sure so you have a good fit and everything looks all right is we've measured top and bottom, crossed it so it's square. We're 20 by 20. Got our little welding magnets right here to hold the corners square. We're going to go ahead and tack the corners, and once they're all tacked in place, we're going to go ahead and loosen it from the table and finish weld it all up so we can go onto the base. Now that we have our back brace all welded up, we're going to go ahead, we've squared up our base, and we're going to go ahead and start tack welding this together. We're going to do an inside and outside corner tack. Our cut was a little bit of a gap there, so we're going to go ahead and do a stitch weld on this one to actually try it so we don't build up too much heat in the metal. One tip we're going to show you here is we have the base all tack welded up. We flipped it over and we're just going to go ahead. There's no really need to finish tack welding again. We're going to go ahead and weld it up. One little tip is to save you some time in grinding. Where we have our back brace here, where it connects to the rear of the engine cradle, if you were to go ahead and weld this completely all the way down, there'd be a bubble. You might have a poor fit. So we're only going to weld the center section of the tube to try to make it stronger and add in ease and save time of grinding to get your weld joint perfect again. We're at the point now on our engine cradle that we had the base, we were just welding, we got it all finished welded. We went ahead and squared our back brace up 90 degrees and welded it on. Okay, we went ahead and cut our strut rods, drilled the holes in them for the front mounting of the engine. We've attached our tabs here. This is going to be a very good way to locate the way you want to get for a nice fit and make sure everything fits. So we're going to go ahead, now what we're going to do is we're going to set this up here on the block. We're going to actually hold this with the tabs in place. Now, while you have this in place, you're going to want to go ahead and mark your bolt hole where you're going to attach it to. We're then going to remove the strut, drill our hole, then we will bring it back up, we'll reattach and bolt it to the block, and our tabs will be in perfect place, and we'll go ahead and tack weld the tabs. And then we'll remove the strut, finish weld the tabs, bolt our strut back in, we'll be done with the project. This ensures that you're actually using the block as a fixture to make sure all your pieces are nice and straight. Now we welded our tabs on, and now we have our finished product. Here's your engine cradle. go over a couple things with you. Now you can see it sitting here on the stand. Go over a couple nice features of how here we at Eliminator Kustoms build them and why. You can see you have extra deep clearance. Okay, even with most of like an 8 or 9 inch deep oil pan, you'll still have about 1.5 to 2 inches of clearance for your oil pan. Dry sump pans, whatever. This will also fit a big block Chevy configuration, Ford or Chrysler. The nice thing about where we bolted this on the front as a universal location, say this engine had a motor plate on it, you could actually just slide these over and bolt them on the back side of the motor plate and use the same arms. That's how we build them here, so we don't have 20 stands laying around. We have one, and we can add to it and use it for several blocks. So hopefully this has helped. Okay, I'd like to talk about the Miller 212 auto set for a minute, the machine we use to build our engine stand. When we first started out, we had the thinner tubing, the 1/8 inch tubing. We had it on 30-thou wire auto set, 1/8 inch range. I tend to weld a little bit slower than most people, so what we've done is we've actually turned it down a little bit to a different heat range, and the auto set actually adjusts for that, so you prevent like burn through and stuff if you actually weld a little bit slower on thinner materials. The 212 auto set is a perfect for home, light industrial, and any race shop does the job, anything you need to do, small or large. This is Chris Jarman from Eliminator Kustoms. Thanks for checking out our project. For more racing, customizing, and restoring tips, go to millerwelds.com.